Heyo. 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 Alright, let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. We're on it, everybody. Welcome. We are live. Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Let's proceed accordingly. Good people. Peoples of Earth. How are we? We are here. Let me get my stuff straight here in the background. I'm going to have to do a professional broadcast. Because we're broadcasting. Interesting word, broadcasting. Let's think about this, guys. The words they use in the presentation of this this mass media culture. They have programs as they're programming you, and it's a broadcast. You're You're broadly casting. Casting what? What do you cast? I don't think we're talking about a broken leg here. You cast spells. That's right. You're broadly casting spells. And what do you cast spells with? You cast spells with your words. Spellcraft. And here we are. That's right, Emmanuel. Emmanuel knows. Emmanuel's into those type of things. That weird stuff. You cast spells. No? When you're casting a spell, you're using words. When you write words down, you're spelling. You're spelling the words. It's all very strange how it's linked in. It's so weird. Why did they do this to us? Why did they give us a spellcraft language like that? You know, our very communication, every time we speak, it's apparently like casting like magic spells everywhere. It's almost like we're powerful. You know, our words have power. You know, our thoughts and our intention has power. It's almost like that. Yeah, Manuel. And then sometimes when we write, we use cursive. At least I was taught cursive when I was in school. I'm not sure if that's really even taught anymore. Weird. So I'm casting a spell on myself and a curse as I sign my name. Does that mean when you sign something, you use your signature, you're placing a curse on yourself? On a spell? What is with that? It's so weird. Like, just why? That has to be beyond coincidence. I mean, look, some of us around these communities have a tendency to stretch things, reach for things. We've talked about the word apophilia here. I know that triggers some people. Apophilia, if I recall, it's a tendency to see meaningful connections and, apparently meaningless ideas, right? But this doesn't seem meaningless. Like spelling, cursive, broadcasting, programming. Come on, guys. This isn't coincidence. I mean, I get it. We could stretch it sometimes. People come here and they stretch things. Looking at you, Smith W. You just, people throw numbers at me, events, and they make certain links that are just, I don't know, in some ways strain credibility. But this doesn't to me. Why did they give us a spellcraft language? It makes you wonder. This English language, this angle. Apparently, the language stemmed from Germanic. And this is a deep rabbit hole. And then let's look at the German language. The German and Dutch. What does that stem from? Mean Mr. Mustache, Mr. Adolphe Hitlaro, well, he seemed to think that the German lineage was something quite other than what's presented to us. The so-called Aryans, links to these ancient cultures. It said that the Aryans preceded the Vedic cultures, which would later be known as Hindu. Well, what's the link there? What's the link with Hitler, the Germans, the Aryans, and these original peoples, ancient cultures. Very strange. Very strange. I can't figure it out. Maybe you guys can. I hit a point with certain things, I just have to stop because I've realized that the rabbit hole really is never ending. It just keeps on going down fractally into infinity, basically. It's really our perceptions that lead us to think that this is a limited world, one in which any true answers, and one in which truth can be attained. But it appears to be infinite in many ways, both towards the micro and the macro. Where does it really stop? Each question answered leads to infinitely more questions, so on and so on. So, to me, there has to be a balance. There has to be an understanding when we approach these topics. It begs the question, what's healthy? Is some people, most people, they're not interested in exploring these things. Maybe it's too much for them. I mean, it is scary. So they like things answered for them. They like the idea of an authority figure to explain things for them. Well, somebody smarter than me, more experienced than me, they kind of looked into it, so they have it figured out. It's very simplistic, very sophomoric, and I think it stems from a fear, because nobody really wants to grow up. What does that even mean, to grow up? They make it seem so droll. Oh, I have to grow up. Ooh, no more fun. Nobody wants to do that. So we see a society that's locked in some type of perpetual childhood, some immaturity, consciously, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, cognitively, etc., etc. Very strange world. Strange world. Anyway, folks, let's get going with the broadcast. And then I'll see what y'all are saying. Here we are. Howdy, folks. How are you? I should do that. I should adopt the whole Christian pastor thing. We'll do the whole Christian grift on you guys. Wouldn't that be a nice little switch? I say that sarcastically. Let me practice. How would I do that? It'd be like, how are you, people? All of a sudden, I'll just be Joel Osteen. How are you, people? It's so wonderful to be here with you. Look, any good Christian grift needs a southern accent. That's the way it is. It just has to be that way. Like, you can't have the Christian grift with like a weird New York accent, Boston accent. It just doesn't work. Or like me, like a weird Philadelphia accent. It has to be southern. How are you, people? It's nice to see you here in the program. Jesus loves you. He's here for you. And he really loves you if you reach into your pocket and pull out some shekels and put them in the basket. That's right. The ushers are going to come around with baskets, big old handles so they could reach down the pew. I just take out them shekels and toss them in the offerings. That's right. You must tithe your income. I mean, I know you're paying like 40% of it to the government in taxes. I know. I know maybe you have like an ex-wife or two, alimony, child support. But you're a sucker. You're a sucker. You can't basically operate your own life in your own mental space. So you need to come here to church and tithe your income and your shekels. Maybe I could do that, guys. That'll be my shtick. The Christian grift shtick. Maybe that's what we'll do. I'm just saying. I don't know. What do I know? How are you, people? Jesus loves you. I'm practicing, guys. So when I get the Christian grift going, I'll be. I mean, there's some people that are great at the Christian. I like the people who just like to combine the Christian grift with just like regular stuff. It's like they're like normal, but they're gonna have like a Christian flavor on top of everything. They'll just talk about secular things, progressive things, but then it's like, oh yeah, Jesus. We'll just go back to that narrative. Because that brings in the shekels, because that's already pre-programmed into most of y'all slaves. You already got the Jesus programming in. So I'm just going to tap into that Jesus programming. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It's like already there. So why not use it? It's like just call up the Jesus programming. Oh, there we go. And this is where it's going to be like, oh, he's a blasphemer. He's Luciferian, blah, 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 blah. Right. So anyway, did we start the show yet? I don't think so. Let's do the opening. Good morning, everybody. Grand Rising, Great Approach, and welcome back to Z Show. The show that seemingly never ends. The show that we take a deep dive into my consciousness. The show where I come on here each and every morning after I drink my coffee and just kind of like see what's going on. We talk, we explore things, we get it going. Pumpkin coffee this morning. It's that season. I got to tell you, Z, your buddy here's feeling great, guys. The weather's changing. I went out this morning. It's beautiful. 50-some degrees. The sun wasn't even up yet. See, this is the time of year I like. I like waking up before the sun. Which, again, I watched it as it was just peaking. It just illuminates part of the sky. It's like a local light. Okay, guys, let's really. If the sun was really, 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 really far away, like 93 million miles, and it was like it's super huge and powerful, and it was like, the rotating of the earth, and we turn, and then the sun, it would just light the whole sky up uniformly. It wouldn't look like a spotlight that's lighting a section up and igniting, I don't know, some certain noble gases in the sky to produce what we perceive as, this light. Why, when it comes in, why is it highlighting only a portion of the sky? And then it expands outward from there, as if it's a light approaching. You see what I'm saying, guys? That's what I'm observing. But they're telling me it's like a whole nother thing. They're telling me that I'm like watching it as I'm like, whoa, I'm flying backwards. Where I live, it's probably like, 900 miles an hour, which is faster than the speed of sound for anybody who doesn't know. So as I'm like, whoa, falling like kind of backwards, 900 miles an hour. And then the geographic horizon, like basically, I wouldn't be falling backwards. Actually, be sunrise, so I'd be falling towards it. See, it's a ride, guy. It's like a roller coaster, so it's hard to keep track of. So I'm like, whoa! So they're telling me that the sun's not moving. It's really me moving at 900 miles an hour, like towards it. And then when the geographic horizon of Earth hits a certain angle, the sun comes up. That's what they're telling me. But it just looks like it's like coming here towards me. Like I don't really feel like I'm moving. And people say, "Oh, Z, well, it could be either one." Like the guy yesterday, John from New Zealand. That could be either one, Z. So it says, half of one, so prove either way. We don't know. Really? It could be either one. I don't know. When I kind of think it's like, all right, so you're saying that I'm like 900 miles an hour flying towards it on a rotational axis on a ball, a sphere. And it's rotating. You're saying that is what it is, but my whole experience is like I'm just here, like not moving. I have no sensation of moving, and it looks like there's something coming towards me. So which one's the claim? Is the claim me like observing the world around me, or is the claim something that goes completely opposite to that? So you're going to give me an outrageous claim that goes against and is antithetical. Yeah, we're going to steal Witset's word. I'm using it now, Austin. It's just the way it is as Nuba shows up. You're going to make a wild claim that's antithetical to all of my experience, my observation, and even all applied physical science. That's your claim. But you're saying that, oh, no, it's like equal burden. Like you're saying that we have the burden to prove our stupid globe and heliocentric model, but no, you have the burden to prove your flat Earth. Yeah, I can go off on this, guys. It doesn't make sense. But where was I? More importantly, the pumpkin coffee showed up this morning at this little convenience store near me where I sometimes go get coffee. Because sometimes just my like instant coffee that I use is just gross after a while. It's too acidic. It's really horrible. But it's cheap, so I like the instant coffee. But sometimes I'll go, there's, convenience store close to me, and I'll go get their coffee. And it was pumpkin coffee. And I said, this is perfect. It's nice and cool this morning. So I was watching the local sun approach, highlighting a discrete area of the sky as it spreads out. I was drinking my pumpkin coffee. In that moment of silence, any people out or like, people up going to work, doing things. There's really no miscreants out at like 5:30 in the morning. Like if you're a miscreant at 5:30, you're like a real miscreant. Because even like the people who are just kind of cuckoo, by 5:30, they've kind of, usually bedded down somewhere. So I like the people that I run into at 5:30 in the morning. Nobody really talks. Everybody's just kind of like, there's glances made, acknowledgments made, maybe. Nobody expects anything that time. The cops don't care. The cops aren't pulling you over at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. They're just not. They don't give a fuck. It's a nice time to do things. Especially with your pumpkin coffee. Now, Niall's telling me pumpkin spice equals cancer. See, and this is where I'm just like, fuck, like another thing I have to worry about. The pumpkin spice. There's enough things giving me cancer. I'm going to just forget about the pumpkin spice cancer thing, Niall. I'm going to just choose willful ignorance on that one. There's too many things that I'm like awake to. Like it's enough that they're just lying about everything, the cosmology, the science. I'm okay with like dealing with that stuff. I'll deal with it with any potential cancer from the pumpkin spice. Like I'm okay with that. Cuz I'm not going to go. I'm sure there's like a method to like brew like natural pumpkin coffee. Somebody's going to tell me like, "Oh, you blend the fresh pumpkin up." Where am I going to get that? Because then you'll tell me like, oh, the pumpkin in a can that people use for pumpkin pie is like the cancer thing. So I'll say, oh, you can just get a fresh pumpkin and like, maybe carve it up for Halloween and then take the pulp and blend it and puree it and then somehow turn that into like some fresh potted pumpkin. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather just not. Um, I'd rather just not. At some point, guys, if life just becomes too complicated, then what's the point of like even living your life? It just gets crazy. I'm going to take my chances on the pumpkin spice, guys. I'm just letting you know here. Because I'm like that. I kind of live on the edge. I'm gonna say, yeah, I heard about this pumpkin spice. Apparently, it's carcinogenic. Some ways causes cancer, but look at me living on the edge. OTW says, like me and Monster drinks. Is anybody surprised Pat drinks these Monster energy drinks? Sucking them down like a fiend. I'm not surprised, Patrick. Nobody's surprised at that. Pat, just don't drink the diet ones. I know people say, like, sugar's bad. Okay, it might be. Sugar causes cancer. I get that too, but hopefully, Pat, you're not like drinking the synthetic sugar ones, aspartame and all that shit. Aspartame, whatever the fuck it's called. Don't drink that stuff, dude. 4 or 5 a day, bro. 4 or 6 a day, he says. 4 or 6 a day of Monster drinks. Pat, that is not good, dude. And you're smoking all those spliffs and the Monster. That's not healthy. At your age, Pat, that's not healthy. You're a grandfather. You're going to have to, like, rein that in sometime, dude. It's too much. And what about your bowels? I don't want to go there. I don't want to gross everybody out. Some people are eating breakfast as they listen. That's way too much caffeine, man. You're probably dehydrating yourself. Fucking fiends, man. Fucking fiends. All right. Let's actually read the chat and greet the audience. Who's here? Capricorni came in. Top of the list. Says, morning Z, wink, and morning to the chatters. Morning to you, Capricorni. No in the house. Somewhere in time. Good to see you, lovely lady. Conspirinator in the house. Emmanuel coming at us. Queen of Swords, much love. Cult member 425 coming at us. He said, only language where noses run and feet smell. You drive in a parkway and you park in a driveway. Yeah. It's funny when you study the foundations of hypnotism, believe it or not, everybody. There's certain principles and methods used when you're trying to place someone in a hypnotic state or engage in that. A lot of it is to present opposite concepts together. And I know it sounds weird, but there's a phenomena that happens. It causes like some kind of mental, intellectual, conscious schism. The schism in some way opens you up to a more hypnotic state. Kind of entrains you into a hypnotic state. So these opposites, these conflicting, ideas presented simultaneously. Because you say weird, and then it places you in some weird hypnosis. It's strange. Bex in the house. Thanks for Bex. Nice to see you, Bex. Emmanuel says Sanskrit, which comes from the Aryans, is the mother of most tongues. Well, there you go, Manuel. I mean, we were talking about Sanskrit, the Aryans, a lot of the earliest, quote unquote, scriptures that we find. Guys, the other thing I want to tell you about, this is going to upset some of you churchianity people. When it comes to the Aryan, Vedic, and Hindu culture, in terms of their pantheon of gods, many of them can be seen, replicated in what we call the Old Testament, more specifically the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. When you talk about like Abraham, which is he's the father of Israel, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, Abraham and his wife Sarah. You can see correlations to Abraham, Brahma, the Hindu god Brahma. Abraham had a wife named Sarah. I'm getting all this is like Jordan Maxwell 101 stuff, guys. It doesn't make it like worthless. This is like anybody. This is like fifth grade trutherism here. So I'm not coming up with anything new. But Abraham had a wife named Sarah, correlated with the Hindu god Sarah. There's like Saraswati. The idea of even the Christ figure represented as possibly analogous to the Krishna figure. Krishna, Christos. If you don't see the links, I don't know how to help you guys. So it goes back to what I've said so many times. It seems like these religions that they give us seem to just be different tellings, different iterations of like certain fundamental underlying stories of these gods. And that's where you see the what's been dubbed the syncretism, so to speak. There's a syncretism amongst these different understandings, different doctrines, these different cultures. This is what it is, guys. I didn't make this shit up. But yeah, good call with the Sanskrit there. Cult member giving us some stuff about angles, angel. Yeah. Angle land, England. Yeah. Yeah, right on with that stuff. That stuff gets way deep. Way deep. Queen of Swords, much love. I am Lord Sri Sri Hara Hara, says Yosi. LOL. Thump that buy bell. Bibe L. You must be enjoying this conversation, Lord Sri Sri Hari Hari. Going by your name there, just saying. Yeah. Dean Kendall, much love, coming at us from New Zealand. Nice. Benton in the house. Much love. Benton wondering, why does the Southern Christian grift guy have to have a Southern accent? Well, come on, Benton. That speaks for itself. You know that. No in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, Christianity, mind control. Sorry, guys. Morgan in the house. Alex Tilburg says the sun is local. Yes, yes. Keeping with the theme of today. Emmanuel agrees. Nuba in the house, of course. Nuba. I'm going to let you slide, Nuba. You know what I'm talking about. Mr. Nuba gets up in his feelings sometimes and has to contact Z personally. Somebody gave Nuba my email address, guys. See, this is where, you never know. Either Nuba's going to laugh at this or he's going to be like, fuck you, Z. I hate you now. Somebody gave Nuba my email address. Whoever did that, Nuba, I'm probably going to have a little talk. So when Nuba gets in his feelings in particular, he shoots Z an email. But then I have to, handle it, stuff. But it wasn't bad. I don't want you guys to turn on Nuba. I just guess he's passionate. Nuba, you're a passionate guy. You really are. But Nuba, if you want to make clips of the Z Show, just cut clips out of the Z Show. You can do what you want with it. If you want some type of, remuneration or something, I don't know. I'd rather just cut the clips out myself. Let's see if he engages with me this morning. I'd rather talk to you here, Mr. Nuba. See, you got to get what the whole Z thing is. The Z thing is a meta experience. That's what it is. So it's like it's the show within a show. That's not really a show, you know. It's like the Unslaved Ones term. It's a bit non-bit. You have to the bit non-bits. It's just really not a bit. But we have to put the bit part in there. So I just go, oh yeah, that part was a bit. You get it? It's a bit non-bit. It's a show non-show. It's a dream within a dream. It's just like I said. It's fractal. The show represents this reality, Nuba. It's just fractal. It just really just continues, just branches off like forever. It just doesn't really. That's why it's just about an experience and a consciousness and an understanding, bro. I'd rather have these conversations here, and we just put it out in front of everybody, no matter what it is, and then we go with it. You get it, Nuba? That's the whole shtick here. That's why I'm not so interested in having my private contact information. People will say to me like, "Oh, how do I contact you privately?" Well, and I'm saying, "Well, why do you need to?" I drop a link in. I'm here like every weekday morning, and you just come up. We can talk. It's if there's something that needs to be said in private, okay, we could do it. I'm not saying it's off the table, Mr. Nuba. Don't get butthurt and sensitive. I'm just saying, like, it's not hard to contact me. Like, I'm here right now. Just saying, sir. Much love, though. Let's move on. People are in the chat are chatting at John from New Zealand, the guy from yesterday. Ooh. John, if you are watching, I'm fairly sure, John, that you're some type of, I don't want to go so far as to say you're a saboteur, but your story of like how you found my show and then you like pocket dialed your way onto my show, nobody was buying it. So you were kind of insincere and dishonest, like from your first words to me as you came on yesterday. So it's very likely that you're just an example of what I have to deal with and what I've been dealing with in this platform. It makes me wonder, like, why does little old me here just doing my show in the morning? Why do I have like people coming at me all the time? I mean, my like longtime listeners, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you've seen it. And that's the thing. Anybody who thinks, oh, he's crazy and he's in his head and he's has delusions of grandeur. The people who watch me and follow me know what I'm talking about. Why is there like these entities like coming at me in like weird ways? It's weird. Strange. But cult members talking to our friend John from New Zealand. He said, if you're watching, they have never flown under the South Pole. Because you can't, in order because the rim of a bowl. Well, that sounds like a claim cult member, but I understand what you're saying. But it begs the question. Why is there no north-south circumnavigation? Just saying, I don't know. I don't know. Benton says, grind your own beans with a pour over, and it's not any more expensive than instant. See, I priced that out, Benton. I disagree. I get it that it's a less expensive method. But the instant seems to be less expensive than even that. The instant's really cheap. Like I can get a big thing of instant for a couple dollars and make like 100 cup of coffees. It's fucking disgusting. At least maybe you're right, Ben. Maybe it's at least comparable. But the instant coffees, it's just disgusting. Actually, it's really gross. Yeah, more stuff about flight routes on the level horizontal realm. Blah 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 blah. Mike Soonich in the house. Much love. We already said hi to OTW News. Wacky Patrick coming at us from French Canada. I don't know. Part of me wants to kind of go in on Patrick a little bit, based on some of his presentation lately. Like Pat's in his like frivolity stage. Like you can see when Patrick from OTW News starts going through his when he starts oscillating between his various personalities, and you can kind of see that expressing itself. Like, I see that about you, Pat. Like, I'm kind of on to it. So I can pick up when Pat goes into these, like, it's like he goes on vacation. He's like, oh, I'm in mental vacation state for a couple weeks now. And then something will happen and you'll see him like screaming at somebody. You know. Come on, Pat. Get a hold of yourself. Lord Sri Sri Hari Hari says, I'm all about Ketu and Rahu being X-ray light bodies. Yeah. As far as these heavenly bodies that may be associated with the eclipses. Just saying. Cult member 425 is talking about chemtrail. They've been spraying the skies so bad around here. It's insane. Plus, we have wildfires close to me too. Yesterday was another one of those days. There was wildfire smoke in the air. They're spraying the skies on top of that to the point where it just created a vanilla sky blanket over everything. Like, you can watch the individual trails, like the grid pattern trails, slowly dissipate and form a blanket over time. And I'm like, yeah, this is the world I live in. A lot of my existence, guys, is just coming to terms and grips and being able to accept living in this realm that we're in right now with these deceptions and this engineering and control and stuff, and coming to grips with the lack of understanding and accountability by almost everybody around me. 'Cause that's the tough part. All right, guys, you want to fuck us over? Okay, there's a control matrix that's basically engineering society from the top down. Okay, that's one thing. That's like one level of like the thing. But the thing that really fucking hurts is that part. The part where like nobody seems to care or understand or be able to break their hypnotic spell. Even if I'm like, look, guys, Soylent Green, it's people. It's people. They'll still eat the Soylent Green. Oh, it's people? Oh, even if it is people, what's the big deal? Because that's what you think. You think when you're, Charlton Heston. I almost called him Dustin Hoffman for some. When you're Charlton Heston, you're like, it's people. Yeah, Soylent Green is people. You think everyone's going to be like, spit it out and be like, oh, it's fucking people. Fuck you. And then, oh, we've all uncovered it. And then you take down the controllers and, you storm the castle gates. No, people are just, like nowadays, people are just like, oh, it's people. Yeah, people taste good, I guess. Moving on. No, it's people. You don't eat it. They're spraying the skies. Once you realize that, it should be, oh, what? Okay, we need to do something about it. No, nobody does anything. They just go about their day. It's fat, lazy, dumb. Fucking chattel. They called you Goy for a reason. You're a Goyim for a reason, guys. It's just the way it is. What a good word. I mean, they knew it. They knew it in the beginning. They're like, oh, they're Goyim. They're like, what does that mean? What does Goyim mean? It pretty much means they're just, kind of trash. So weird how that works. Fucking strange. And then, of course, you wonder, like, well, how did they come up with this Goyim, Like, where did they, first start to call us Goyim? And then I have to go back. I have to take a trip to old pre-Russia Ukraine. And our friends, our lovely Khazarian friends. The origin of the term Goyim. How did that go? Remember, we have Father Rothschild sitting around his dinner table with his family, his wife, Mother Rothschild. Papa, what shall we call these useless eaters that you speak of, Papa? They must have a name. We just can't call them useless eaters. They'll catch on to, our grift. And then Papa Rothschild's like, well, what shall we call them? Yes, they need a name. We just can't call them cattle and useless eaters. Father, why don't we call them Goyim? Let's think about that. Goyim. Yes. That has a nice ring to it. I agree, Papa. We would call the useless eaters Goyim. Yes. That's a wonderful idea. That's right. As we take over the economy of the whole world and create a fiat Babylonian money system to control them with, we'll just tell them that they're useless. Ha ha ha! Yeah! Machaim! Mazel tov! Mazel tov! Yes! Hoi! 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 The Goyim! That's right, Father. You are so wise. Yes, I am wise. Then, Father, what will we do after we create all the money that they will use? What do you mean, what will we do? What I mean, Father, like, will we charge, like, interest on the money? Yes, of course. It's called usury. How do you think we're going to make all our money? So, Papa, they're going to use our money and we're going to charge them interest on the money that we just create from nothing? Yes, of course we are. Oh, Father. But, and then, there's always the one little black sheep of the family. We know her. She's at the end of the table with her head down. She looks up. But, Papa, I told you, I don't want to enslave the Goyim. That makes me sad. Duh! Be gone with you. I disown you. How dare you? But Father, won't the Goyim become mad at us and basically want to destroy us? No, they're fucking idiots. We could just spray the skies, crash the world economies, consolidate all the resources towards us, create multiple world wars in which we control both sides. They won't have a fucking clue. We'll blame it on the Vatican. Fuck them. Oh, Father, that sounds horrible. Doesn't matter. We'll be filthy fucking rich. Who gives a fuck? Okay, Father. Okay. Thank you, Father. Yes. That's right. That's right. Fuck the Goyim. What shall we do next, Father? What shall we do next? I mean, I'm not 100% sure it went down, exactly like that. It might have been like a little different. But I'm sure it was like something very similar to that circumstance. Something very similar. I mean, there's a lot of ways it could have went down, but I'm usually pretty good at like interpreting things. And this is another way it could have went down. I mean, similar. So could have went down something like this. Just saying. I mean, something like this.
Oh, dear Lord. You made many, many poor people.
Oh,
I realize, of course, it's no shame to be poor,
well, isn't
but
it?
it's no great honor either.
Yeah.
Ah. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune?
Look at the look in his eye right there. That is the look of a Jew when he thinks about shekels. See that look, guys? That look only means one thing: shekels.
If I were a rich man,
Shekels, 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 shekels.
all day long I biddy bum. If I
Whoa,
were
whoa,
a
whoa.
wealthy
Hey,
man,
man.
I wouldn't have to work hard.
Shekels, 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 shekels.
If I were a biddy rich, idle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town.
Yes, yes.
A fine tin roof with the real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down.
Who?
And one more leading nowhere just for show.
Yes.
I'd fill my yard with the chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each loud will land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum, all day long I biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard.
Shekels, 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 shekels.
If I were a biddy-biddy rich, I see my wife, my gold, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin. Supervising meals to her heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Oh, what a happy mood she's in.
Yes, yes.
Screaming at the servants day and night. The most important man in town will come to fawn on me. They will ask me to advise them like a Solomon the wise. If you please, Rebetavia, pardon me, Rebetavia, posing problems that would cross a rabbi's eyes. He had a deed, he had a dead, he had a dead.
That is the sound only a Jew can make when he thinks about money right there.
If I answer right or wrong.
I gotta hear that again.
When you're rich, they think.
I gotta hear that again.
And it won't make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong.
Wait, where did it go? There it is.
Cross a rabbi's eyes. He had a deed. He had a dead. He had a dead.
Oh my God.
A rabbi's eyes. He had a deed. He had a dead. He had a dead. A rabbi's eyes. He had a deed. He had a dead. He had a dead.
Oh my God. Kidding me?
And it don't want to make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're rich, they think you really know.
Why is this so funny to me?
We're rich.
They actually
they
made this movie, this musical.
in the synagogue and pray, and maybe have a seat by the eastern wall.
Oh.
And I discuss the holy books with the learned men 7 hours every day. And that would be the sweetest thing of all. If I were a rich man, all day long, bum. If I were a wealthy man, hey, you wouldn't have to work hard.
Shekels.
Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan? If I were a wealthy man.
Oh my god. Unbelievable. Are you kidding me with that? I don't know why that's so amusing to me. Oh. Hey, I'm back. Am I back? Looks like I'm back. I don't think they liked that. Doesn't seem like the you know, it's funny, guys. They've never done that to me, and you guys know how much shit I play. But look what it's funny, like, I mean, guys, come on. Like, that's the content that you struck me for was you know, that stuff. When I'm singing about shekels, talking about Mama and Papa Rothschild. Yeah. Hey, we're back, everybody. Not bad. Not bad. Do you guys have audio? Can you hear me? Nuba's saying there's no audio. Can you guys hear me? All right, yeah. All right, you guys can hear me. Hey, we're back. Nice. And I was like trying to sing over top of it and stuff, just so I wouldn't do that, but it got me anyway. Unreal. All right, let me bear with me, folks, as I reset some of the stuff here in the background. Well, interestingly enough, YouTube reported recently that they've updated their censorship policy, although it was mostly around health stuff. You know, they really didn't report that they're going to crack down on, you know, like the Jew talk and stuff. But note to self, there's certain, you know, classes of people, ethnicities that I guess you really were not allowed to talk about. Just saying. Oh, man. All right. Well, at least we're back. All right. So it's a good opportunity to move on to the next segment. Hold on. Get this going here. Let's do our hashtag science segment before we move on to the open panel portion. I'll get it going here. Thanks, YouTube. I mean, you think they'd want to support their content creators. God forbid. I mean, I don't expect you to promote my stuff, YouTube, but I'm not sure what we're speaking about here this morning is deserved of, you know, censorship. I get it. You're going to say it's a copyright. Like, it's kind of weird. All right, let's move on to hashtag science. What do I have for you guys this morning? You guys know each morning we like to come on and talk something science related. I can't just talk about the Rothschilds and the Khazarians and stuff all morning and just kind of make fun of a whole class of people. You know, let's do something a little bit, I guess, more productive. Not nearly as funny, but, well, I mean, it's comical. The stuff that they're telling us, and they're classifying as science, I guess it could be considered comedic. I think it's funny. Maybe we'll get into some of it. Let's see what I have for you guys this morning. This article comes from, well, CNN World. Ooh, CNN, your most trusted name in news. What does CNN have to say when they present space science? This article is entitled, Neptune's Clouds Have Disappeared. And, why can't I read this? And scientists think they know why. Wow. And then what they do, guys, is they show us an image, multiple images from the Hubble Space Telescope and its observations of Neptune from 1994 to 2020. So Hubble Space Telescope, it's so good. I mean, you know, because I know we got a bunch of telescopes here, you know, terrestrially, like really big ones and stuff that we use to observe the heavens. But Good thing NASA has this like really cool telescope called the Hubble telescope, and it's really high. I think they tell me it's like 350 miles up. That's really high, guys. And it's got to be traveling real fast if it's that high. So, you know, because they say the International Space Station is 250 miles above Earth's surface. Most satellites are 150 miles, but the Hubble Space Telescope, that's like 350 miles. So I'm sure it's going to get a real good look at, you know, space. So good thing that, you know, I'm able to look at these images from 1994 to 2020 of Neptune. And I'm sure these are, you know, not rendered images whatsoever. I'm sure they're not, you know, completely computer generated CGI. I'm sure, you know, I mean, they call them images. They don't even have the balls to call them photos. Sometimes they actually do call them photos, which I think is funny, but we have these images of Neptune from the Hubble Space Telescope. Which is weird. And they're telling us that apparently Neptune's losing its clouds. It's weird. Like, I can't tell that from here. I can't, like, verify it. Let's see what CNN has for us here. Astronomers have been puzzling over a mystery on Neptune, and now they think they have unlocked a secret. The ice giant's ghostly circus-like clouds largely disappeared 4 years ago. So, just so you guys didn't, if you didn't know, apparently Neptune's an ice giant, and it used to have ghostly circus-like clouds, but now they're like disappeared. Wow, what a weird time in history! Like we could watch the heavens just change in front of us. I mean, you know, throughout all recorded human history, people have looked up to the sky, and it really hasn't changed. Even since the advent of, you know, supposed telescope. But now, because we have like the super technology and we can see what's going on, and it changed apparently. Let's continue. Today, just a patch hovers over the planet's south pole. Thanks to an analysis of nearly 3 decades worth of Neptune observations. Because remember, guys, we also sent that Voyager out there. There was the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, which they launched, I believe, in 1977. You know, that apparently got some really good images of Neptune. So, cool thing, we had the Voyager take some really nice images, and now we have this Hubble Space Telescope. We've been able to study it for, as it said, decades now, right? Interesting. 3 decades. Let's continue. Right. Because it says, thanks to an analysis of nearly 3 decades worth of Neptune observation captured by 3 space telescopes. Wow, 3. Scientists have determined the ice giant's diminished clouds may indicate that shifts in their abundance are in sync with the solar cycle, according to a recent study published in journal Icarus. Wow, interesting name for a journal. Which is funny because, okay, so now they're saying the solar cycle has affected Neptune's climate and their ecosphere. Well, that's funny because they're telling us here on Earth that, you know, it's our fault that the climate's changing. You know, we're like, you know, consuming these technologies that create greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane. I mean, let's just forget about the fact that, you know, the Earth has like built-in systems to handle carbon dioxide. It kind of equalizes itself, maintains itself. Let's forget about the fact that, you know, all plants consume carbon dioxide for their metabolic processes through photosynthesis, and they expel oxygen. I don't know, it's kind of like the Earth kind of has a built-in system that levels itself out. It's kind of nice, right? But I don't know. I guess we're, you know, creating much of these gases, and it's fucking up the whole climate. But not Neptune. Their climate's getting all fucked up because of this solar cycle. So what is it, guys? Is it the solar cycle? Because Neptune's like really far away. We're like a lot closer than Neptune to the sun. So I don't know. Or is it the solar cycle and all the stuff we're doing that's fucking up our ecosystem? I don't know. It's weird. Weird narratives, kind of conflicting. Kind of like what I said before, guys, about hypnosis and the way it works. You present a narrative, two conflicting ideals. It kind of confuses people. It's almost like it glitches their minds out and they really can't think and they just go, hey, what's for dinner? Let's see who I could swipe right on Tinder. Let's continue. These remarkable data. Yeah, not this, these. Yeah. People tell me AI is like not writing these articles. Let's continue. Quote, these remarkable data give us the strongest evidence yet that Neptune's cloud cover correlates with the sun's cycle, said senior study author somebody Pater, Professor Emeritus of Astronomy at the University of California, Berkeley. Ooh, Berkeley, everybody. Professor Emeritus. That is a very, very lofty title. Quote, our findings support the theory that the sun's ultraviolet rays, when strong enough, may be triggering a photochemical reaction that produces Neptune's clouds. Right. Well, you're going to find out later in the article, Neptune's apparently like 2.5 billion miles away. That's a lot. So the sun is apparently affecting Neptune's clouds. But they're telling us that, like, you know, all the stuff that's going on here on Earth is, like, you know, our fault. So which is it, guys? I don't know. Like, these are the things I think about. Little old me. You know, I just tend to ask questions. I guess that makes me a big troublemaker and a rabble-rouser, because I ask questions. I don't know, it's weird. During the solar cycle, the level of activity in the sun's dynamic magnetic fields waxes and wanes. Well, is it a magnetic field or is it, you know, thermal energy based off fusion? I don't know. Weird. Let me continue. The magnetic field flips every 11 years as it becomes more tangled, like a ball of yarn, according to NASA. When there is heightened activity in the sun, more intense ultraviolet radiation bombards the solar system. With data from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, the Keck. Sorry. Oh, I wonder why they canceled my stream. Keck Observatory in Hawaii and the Lick Observatory in California, scientists observed 2.5 cycles of cloud activity over the 29-year period of Neptune observations, during which the planet's reflectivity increased in 2002 and diminished in 2007. Neptune brightened again in 2015 before darkening in 2020 at its lowest level ever seen. That's when most of the cloud cover faded away. Quote, even now, 4 years later, the most recent images we took this past June still show the clouds haven't returned to their former levels, said the study's lead author. Right. So this is where they tell you that those 3 telescopes come in handy. You know, the 2 terrestrial telescopes, one in Hawaii, the Keck one, and the other Lick Observatory in California. They noticed that there was a dimming and a brightening. Very likely not seeing, you know, anything that'd be considered clouds, because how could you? But then NASA's going to come in with their Hubble telescope 350 miles, you know, above Earth, which is, you know, out of our atmosphere, which sees things clearly. That's going to tell you that it's like clouds and stuff, you know. Plus, we had that Voyager out there. So it's clouds. Interesting. Quote, even now, 4 years later, the most recent images we took this past June still show the clouds haven't returned to the former levels, said the study's lead author, Randy Chavez, a doctoral student at the Center for Astrophysics, Harvard and Smithsonian, in a statement. Ooh. See how they just appeal to authority? They just throw you big names. This is how NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, works, everybody. They're going to tell you somebody's a professor emeritus at Berkeley, and he's going to tell you this thing. And then the doctoral student at the Center of Astrophysics at Harvard and Smithsonian is going to tell you another thing. They're going to throw you big titles, big names, and they're going to have these people say things. And you're going to be like John from New Zealand yesterday and say, look at this guy. He's a doctoral student at Harvard, fuckface. Way smarter than you, Z. What do you know? Smart guy says it, therefore it must be so. Duh. Ugh. Let's continue. These findings are extremely exciting and unexpected, especially since Neptune's previous period of low cloud activity was not nearly as dramatic and prolonged. Right. So see how they just correlate it? Because what they really noticed was, maybe an observable dimming, but they're just going to interpolate spurious data and just make a causal connection and just say that it's clouds. Because then they're going to tell you it has, an atmosphere, because you have to have an atmosphere to have clouds. Let's continue. A surprising correlation. The authors also found that 2 years after the cycle's peak, more clouds appeared on Neptune. And the more clouds there were, the brighter Neptune was from the sunlight reflecting off of it. The connection was surprising to planetary science because Neptune is our solar system's furthest major planet and receives sunlight with about 0.1% of the intensity Earth receives, according to NASA. Yeah. Of course, it's, like it says, surprising. It says surprisingly. It was surprising to the scientists. Because it doesn't make sense, guys. Of course it's surprising. I want you to think about it, guys. Now, they tell us that you can see Neptune in the night sky. Everybody really pay attention here. We can see Neptune in the night sky. It's there. It's observable. It's a luminary. It's bright. They tell us that the reason we see it is because we're observing the reflected sunlight from the sun. Well, these scientists should be surprised because based off, math and the distance that they're telling us of Neptune, it receives 0.1% of the light Earth receives. Not 1%, 0.1%. When I talk to you guys about exponential math and logarithm, not 1%, 0.1. Just think about that, guys. So not only is it receiving 0.1% of the light energy, that light energy is being reflected. So then how reflective is that surface? Oh, I know it's real reflective when it has clouds, but apparently it's reflective even enough that we can see it when it doesn't have these clouds. So it's reflecting, so we could assume it's not going to reflect back 100% of that 0.1% that it received. So how much is it losing? Because of course, much of that light energy should be absorbed. It's not going to reflect all of it. But let's just assume it reflects all of it. That those weird gaseous clouds form like a perfect mirror, which I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me, but. Let's just assume it's going to reflect 100% of, that 0.1% of the light intensity that it receives compared to Earth's light intensity from the sun. It has to travel that 2.5 billion miles back to Earth. Now, if you study anything about, physics, actual physics, and how energy dissipates in a three-dimensional realm, it's called the inverse square law of energy dissipation. The inverse square law of light dissipation, light intensity dissipation. You find that every time you double the distance, it's a quarter of the light intensity. And I want you guys, after I gave you all that information, I want you guys to really try to wrap your head around the concept that you're seeing reflected light from the sun in terms of Venus's presentation in the night sky. It doesn't add up, guys. It's not real. Their maths, like when John from New Zealand was here yesterday saying, oh, but maths, but technology, but science equals globe heliocentrism. And I'd say, okay, let's talk about science and maths. But the thing about Z, unlike our friend John from New Zealand yesterday, is Z doesn't use theories. Z uses demonstrable applied physical science. Z uses known laws of physics, like the laws surrounding light dissipation and intensity dissipation over a three-dimensional area of volume. You see, that's the difference between, real science and, this pseudoscience that you fundies love to chant over and over and over again. Let me sum it up for the more remedial amongst us here. The model's impossible because if Neptune was reflected sunlight, you wouldn't be able to see it. Oh, what does Z know? What does Z know? What does Z, a guy who just asks questions, know? Just saying. And I'll just finish it on this just so you know, because it says that Neptune is 2.5 billion miles away. Well, let's think about that, guys. They say the distance from Earth to the Sun is 93 million miles. That's right, 93 million. That's considered an astronomical unit. They're telling me that Neptune is 2.5 billion miles from us. Think about how many astronomical units that is. And they know that. That's why they have to tell us the truth, that it receives 0.1% of our light energy on Neptune. And you think you'd be able to see it? No. Well, what is it, Z? Okay, well, if you're so smart, Z. Yeah, I'm going to give you guys, we're going to go down the logical fallacy mindset evidenced by all you anti-flat earthers, so-called. Well, if it's not that, Z, it's something else. It's got to be something. So tell me what it is. If you can't tell me what it is, then you're wrong. As they try to shift the burden onto me and others like me, and I say to you every time, I don't have to tell you what it is to tell you what it's not. And it's demonstrably not what they're telling you it is. I don't need to give you another theory on top of that. But if you want one, how's this? I don't know. A lot of ancient scripts just call them luminaries. They're lights in the sky. They could be a lot of things. But I'll tell you for damn sure, it's not a gaseous giant planet that has cloud fluctuations 2.5 billion miles from Earth. I'll just tell you it's not that. How's that? Maybe start there and you can go, you can go from there. It's probably a good place to start. All right, everybody. That'll conclude our hashtag science segment for the day. I don't even know. Am I still streaming? Am I still here? Because I click over and I don't know if I'm still here. I don't know if I'm still here. Yeah, still here, it looks like. Looks like I'm still here. It's funny. I lost people by the when the stream went out. You can tell there's some people with the lesser attention spans kind of clicked out. Thanks, YouTube. Let's read, because I want to read what you guys have to say in light of that, because sometimes you guys leave really good comments that I think should be explored. Shri Shri Hari Hari says, just wait until the dome peels back and the dragon enters. Enter the dragon. It says, lights in a dome. Joe Moore says, photos of Jupiter that he takes with his Nikon P950. Ooh. It says 4 moons. Shri Shri says that's 27 astronomical units. Yeah, sounds about right. So 27 astronomical units that it has to go. So think about it, guys. It travels 27 astronomical units to there. It's really 28 if you think about it, because you got to count the distance between Earth and the sun. But I'm just saying. Well, I guess it depends what side of the sun we're on, what time of year. So we'll just say it's 27 astronomical units. But don't forget, Sri Hari Hari, then it's 27 astronomical units back to us. That's 52 astronomical units, assuming perfect reflection. You think you'd see it? Come on, guys. It's insane. Guys, it's insane to think that you would see that. You have to understand that, guys. It's even more insane than to think you would see these, these almost impossibly distant stars that are closest star 25 trillion miles away. Oh, at least they could just lie to you there and say, well, the stars are suns, but they're way bigger than our sun. So yeah, you'd see it still. This is even more incredible of a claim. To say at a total of 52 astronomical units both ways, you'd be able to see that reflected light off of a cloudy gaseous ball in space. Guys, you have to understand why I'm so passionate about this topic, because they're presenting this as reality, and it's literally impossible based off all demonstrable reality. And how so many they can't see this? It just boggles my mind. What are you saying, Beyond Belief? That's a long tape measure that they used to establish that? Yeah, right? Right, like, interesting. How do they even know? Guys, do you know how they tell you they figure out an astronomical unit? Because they tell you that they know the distance between here and Venus. I don't know how they did that. I think they said they crashed a probe up there. And based off that, they know the distance and the size of Venus. Because you guys have to know something. If you're going to use what's called scaling and vectoring, when you look at images that you can't touch and you have to discern, you have to know one of the variables. Do you understand? So they're going to lie to you, and they're going to tell you they know the variable Venus, its distance and its size. Like I said, don't worry about how they figured that out. Sending probes there to somehow, test. And if it wasn't probes, it's electromagnetic frequency. So they're going to tell you they know the distance to Venus and the size of Venus. And then they're going to tell you that based off Venus transit in front of the sun, when we see what we call Venus go in front of the sun, they're going to tell you that based off Venus transit, they know how far and how far away and how big the sun is. And then based off that, they're going to tell you how many astronomical units, quote unquote, Neptune is away. It falls apart. It doesn't make sense. If you have any degree of intelligence and critical thought, you'll know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in your delusion. You're going to be a slave. Sri Hari Hari says light is generated from the interaction between magnetism and electricity. Yeah, I could agree with that. Beyond Belief says mathematics is a formal science, a language. Language can be used to describe reality just as it can fantasy. But in and of itself, mathematics doesn't prove anything. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Beyond Belief says interpretations, assumptions, and speculations about lights in the sky. If you can't access these things in the 3 dimensions, you're believing in stories with a religious approach and not a scientific one, right? So it's called scientism. It's a religion, just like any. It has its own doctrine, dogma. It has its own institution, has its own hierarchy. It has its own prophets and priests. It is a religion. I agree. Guys, you can't test things that you cannot observe and manipulate. Do you understand? That you can't measure, I should say. Because you can observe the luminaries in the sky, but you can't actually measure them. There's certain fundamentals that require measurement. Like I said, you're always going to be assuming one of the variables. Once you assume the variables, it throws it all off. You could make the math do whatever you want. So if you're going to assume the distance and size of Venus to start off with, the whole model's just that. It's a model. It's an assumption. And speculation at best, like Beyond Belief says. Yeah, but what are we doing here? What's Z doing here every morning? What's Z doing every morning with this gossip show? Yeah. Just overturning everything that they're calling science. What a joke. Yeah. Beyond Belief says they don't see how weak their appeals to authority and consensus are, Z. They lack the self-awareness to fully understand, let alone take responsibility for their offerings. Well, you said it, Beyond Belief. I couldn't say it any better than that. Sri Hari Hari says, don't surrender your brain technology to the authorities. Yep. Why is the Vatican running several telescopes? Phoenix, anybody? Yep. Beyond Belief says, is the sun a heat source? When the closer you are, the colder it gets, right? No, it's atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. If the sun's a heat source, why when you go higher, it gets colder in the atmosphere? One thing's for sure, the creatures telling you these stories don't know. If they did, they certainly wouldn't share it freely. Yep. Joe Moore says Lucifer at the Vatican. Lucifer telescope. Yeah, never straight answer, NASA. You got it. Yeah. Just saying, guys. Just saying. You know, Z's just saying. Beyond Belief's just saying. We're all just saying. But again, I'll say what I always say, guys. It's just the magnitude of the deception. It doesn't make it any, less of a deception because it's so big. A lie will always be a lie, guys. A lie can never be truth, no matter who says it, how often they say it, and no matter how emphatically they say it. A lie's a lie. A lie can't just be truth. They're going to want to tell you this in this inverted, world, this world of deception, this fallen realm, this realm of binary, this realm of duality. They're going to tell you that a lie could be a lie sometimes, a lie could be a truth sometimes, and truth could be a lie sometimes. And what's the difference, really? That's not the way it is, guys. A lie can't be truth. And Neptune can't be a gaseous body 2.5 billion miles from Earth that's reflecting the sun's light. It just can't be. You get it, guys? No, Z, what do you know? What do you know, Z? You're just a dummy in a basement, sitting in the dark with a dumb beanie on your head. You're probably Mossad. Z, you're probably like a Jewish secret agent here to infiltrate the truth community. Don't you know, Z? Flat Earth is psyop, dummy. Z fell for the flat Earth psyop. It's so weird because he says like all these other things that are interesting and enlightening and engaging, but he fell for the flat Earth psyop, dummy. Yeah. Yeah, like our friend John from yesterday said. It could be either, Z. No, it can't be either. John from New Zealand. Because it can't be a lie. Just saying. I love this topic, guys. I love this topic. It's amazing, actually. It's so crazy. So goofy. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. Do 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 do. Maybe I'll drop the link for you guys. Because you never know when I drop it. You never know who's going to come up. Sometimes I don't really want to drop the link, to be honest. Just saying. But I'll drop the link. Actually, I dropped the link. It's in the chat now. Who knows? Maybe somebody's just waiting to come up. They're like dying to come up. They're like, oh, I want to say this. I want everybody to hear it. Well, it's in the chat. This is your opportunity right now to come up and talk to your pal, Satetic Warrior. Yeah. Coming at you, everybody. Comes here every morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're holding court for the Truthiverse. Come on up, everybody. Step right up to Z's Metaverse of Madness. Let the clown show begin. Let the clown show begin, everybody. Step right up. Who's it gonna be? Lend your voice. Even the dissenters. I tried to talk to you yesterday, John from New Zealand. You're the one who ran away. Let the record be known. God, wasn't that guy so creepy yesterday, that John from New Zealand? Bro, John, you had some of the biggest douche vibes I've ever encountered in my entire life, bro. You were just so gross. Like, you just had predator and weirdo written all over you as you were like casually like chain smoking your spliff cigarettes or whatever the fuck you were smoking. Total poor showing, John. Oh, you were so creepy. Ladies, if you see John like in a dark alleyway, just walk the other way. It's not going to end well for you. Hashtag date rape. You had the most date rapiest vibes, sir, that I've ever encountered. Probably ever in my whole life. And I've been in some shady fucking environments, dude. I used to be like in rave culture back in the day, man. Popping ecstasy and shit, going to raves. You know? Fucking popping E, going to raves. It's crazy. You might have been Mossad. I think John from New Zealand was Mossad. But he was like techno date rapey Mossad guy. They're really up in their fucking game with their fucking their agents and infiltrators. They really are. It's crazy, man. You know? Like Jewish techno date rape guys. But that's what John was. Gross. Fucking weirdo, bro. Total weirdo. I wonder if he'll come back, John. Are you still with us, Mr. John from New Zealand? Date rapey, spliff smoking guy? Are you really here, bro? Like, are we gonna see you again, good sir? Who knows? Yeah. Like Christy Lee dolls. If you ran into John from New Zealand at like a party or like some like techno rave, discotheque, you know, if he offers you a drink, maybe pass on it. I don't think it would really work out well for you. You know, unless you're interested in date raping. I mean, if that's your thing, like date rape, then maybe go for it, Christy Lee. But God, he had the most date rapey vibes I've ever encountered, man. He really has. He really did. I wonder if I can keep playing. Are they going to strike my stream again if I keep this going? I don't know now. It seems like the tribal peoples have upped their game in the censorship arena, so yeah. Hey, Christy Lee dolls. What's your sign, lovely lady? Don't worry. I won't put any GHB in your drink. I would never date rape you. Fucking weird. Who's in the back? Interesting. Yeah, coming at ya. Loving our Hebrew friends. We're not making fun of you guys. We're laughing with you, my Israelite friends, my Jewish friends. They're not Jews. They're Jewish. They're kind of Jews. They're kind of whatever they want to be. Now we're Jews today. We're Babylonian trickster Khazarians tomorrow. What does it really matter? As long as we make the shekels, doesn't really matter. Yeah, coming at ya, everybody. Clap your hands. Let's make it rain the shekels. That guy's really getting into it right there. Yeah, Noah Hyde balls, anybody? Don't worry about it. I better stop this because they're definitely going to cut my stream if I don't. All right, guys. All right, we'll let you go, Jewish people. You're all wonderful, I'm sure. No offense. Everybody's so sensitive nowadays. So what? Hey, you want to worship Saturn and Saturnalia and Moloch and Baal? Just pretend like you're all about Yahweh. Hey guys, didn't he say like, don't put any like other gods before me? Like, wasn't that like, I don't know, like one of the, might have been like the first commandment he gave you. Don't worship like these other gods before me. I don't know. Kind of seems like you guys kind of like forgot about that Yahweh guy. It's like all about like these other like Babylonian gods. And you're just like okay with it and stuff. I don't know. You think that Yahweh's like going to be cool with it? You think he's just going to be like, yeah, no worry, guys. I mean, I know I told you not to worship any other gods before me, but I was just joking. Carry on. Hey, you're making shekels. What about those burnt offerings? What happened to those? God. Oh, you gave me the blood offerings. God, that's World War I and World War II. Oh, thanks. That was like enough blood for like a while. I don't know. It might be time for some more blood, everybody. Maybe what you're seeing now. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, when did you have enough blood? If you're a deity, like, at what point do you go, okay, that's enough blood sacrifice. Like, I'm good. Thank you. Like, I'm full for a while. Kind of seems insatiable. What is he talking about? No, he's blasphemous. It's weird. It looked like Benton was trying to come up, but he got booted out because he left me a message in the back. I didn't even see you back there, Benton, but he's saying his internet's fucked. Replit said, need your Gmail. Yeah, Replit, I have your contact. I'll be hitting you up soon, Replit. It looks like Replit said he produced music for me. What are you saying, Replit? You made original content for Z Show? He said, I created your music original song. Nice. Replit's an artist. He told us he's a musical artist, which is cool. Yeah, we lost Benton. Would have been nice to talk to him. Mr. Benton, you've been streaming prolifically recently. A lot of streaming from Benton. He's kind of laying it down, doing his Benton thing. Yeah. Uncle Rick the Bear Juice is never enough blood. Never enough blood. You're right. It is never enough. Too much is never enough. Nothing says success like excess, especially when it comes to, your devoted worshipers, like sacrificing things for you, burning things. Interesting. And I know it's confusing for all you Jewish ladies and gentlemen. I would be confused too. It would be. Papa Rothschild, Papa Rothschild. Yes, my young one. Yes. I'm confused, Papa. What are you confused about? There's nothing to be... Well, I told you. Stop thinking. We're filthy rich. You don't have to think. Just enjoy all the shekels and the money. But no, Papa. I've been thinking. Okay, what do you want? Well, I've been thinking. Because the rabbi tells me we worship Yehovah, Yahweh, but sometimes he says we worship Malach and Baal and all the other Babylonian deities. I'm confused, Papa. So what do we worship? I told you! We worship money. Money's number one. Really, Papa? Won't Yehovah, Yahweh, be angered by this statement from you? No, he doesn't give a fuck. And if he does, who fucking cares? We're rolling in shekels. It matters not who we worship. Really, whatever benefits us the most, of course. But I don't know. I'm confused, Father. I'm so confused when you talk like this. I like to pray to God at night. I want to present my prayers. So who should I pray to, Father? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really give a fuck about money. Pray to whoever you want to, little one. It matters not. Pray to the God who's going to give you the most money. Oh, okay, Papa. That sounds strange, but, okay, Papa. Yes, my young one. I'll just do the Jewish thing for a while. Links in the chat for anybody. We had a guest, but he dropped out. Yes, this is the plan. World domination. We'll just control everything. Yes. But Papa, you said we'll have to move to the desert. I don't want to move to the desert. Yes, we're moving to the desert. So what? Small price to play. Small price to pay for world domination. We have to move to the desert. So what? Big deal. Fuck it. Who gives a fuck? Okay, Papa. We'll move to the desert. So weird, guys. What a strange world. You know. And here's the thing, guys. You know, in case you're missing the hyperbole and the sarcasm and the satire. You know, it's not really the Jews. Everybody likes to point to somebody because it's easy. Just to say, oh, it's them. It's you. It's you, the Jews. And then we could just have an answer. Well, what about what about the Vatican, guys? You're just going to overlook that, the Church of Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Roman Empire kind of, has ruled over almost everything for so long. It's you can't, guys. You can't just say, oh, it's this group or it's that group. It's probably not any of those things. And it kind of makes us look crazy when we just point to a small group of people and blame them for all the ills of society and culture. It's too much. You don't have to do that. It's actually not even logical. It kind of seems like they're all have an alliance. If I had to guess, the mysteries that they give you are probably just smoke screens and deception. Their religions seem to be occulted, everybody. Whatever deities, beings that they're venerating, worshiping, seem to be kind of hidden. Like I said, occulted. I don't know what they're really doing in the background. We can only conjecture. We don't know what they're doing. The Jesuits, the so-called Jewish people, we don't really know what they're doing, guys. It seems to be some kind of alliance. They'd like to have you think that the Roman Catholic Church and the Jewish peoples are so separate and kind of warring, but certain understandings show a very close alliance between the Church of Rome and the Israelites. Very close alliance and allegiance. Think about it, guys. I mean, both doctrines share certain foundational scriptures. Just call it different things. The Christians call it the Old Testament, and the Jews call it the Tanakh. It's the same God. It's the same God now. Whether or not the Christ figure was referring to his Father, whether when he was referring to his Father, if he meant the God of the Old Testament, is up for debate, certainly. Because I can make an argument that he was not. But the doctrine says so. A lot of the scripture in the New Testament, it looks like it's gone through great lengths to connect the Christ figure to the Jewish Messiah, this messianic figure. The first words in the New Testament go through great lengths to connect the lineage of Christ to that of Abraham. Why? It doesn't seem natural, too. To me, it looks like kind of reeks of a copy and paste job to me. Oh, there was this guy, this Christ guy, and he said a lot of cool stuff and did some shit, and I don't know, he was saying some stuff. Seemed like he was speaking against his culture. The so-called leaders of his time, the religious leaders, political leaders, which were the same thing. So-called Pharisees and Sadducees, but then there's like all these other scriptures there in the New Testament that like seem to really, go through great lengths to link this Messiah figure to the Jewish Messiah. I don't know. See, he's not buying it. He's just not. I don't have to buy it. Who says I have to buy it? Like, is there something wrong with me if I'm not, like, falling all over myself to incorporate some narrative into my life? Why should I have to do that? I don't think I should. But some people disagree, man. They'll come here and they will fight me to death on this. It's crazy. Let's take a break so I can stand up and get a drink, and we'll see if somebody comes up. Backstage is open. If you've been wanting to come up and talk to yours truly, now's a good time to do it. We're having one of those days where we have a little bit of an opening. Some days it's just insane. Let's take a break. Let's play a little skit from our friend Joe from Effed Up World. I don't think I played this one. Yeah, let's play this one. This one called Rocket Science Came from Demons. And we'll be back. Take it away, Joe. Much love, everybody. Much love.
And Ephippus led the demon of the Red Sea with the column. And they both took the column and raised it aloft from the earth. And I outwitted these two spirits, so that they could not shake the entire earth in the moment of time. And then I sealed round with my ring on this side and that, and said, "Watch." And the spirits have remained upholding it until this day, for proof of the wisdom vouchsafed to me. And there the pillar was hanging of enormous size in midair, supported by the winds. And thus the spirits appeared underneath, like air, supporting it. And if one looks fixedly, the pillar is a little oblique, being supported by the spirits. And it is so to this day. And I, Solomon, questioned the other spirit which came up with the pillar from the depth of the Red Sea. And I said to him, "Who art thou, and what calls thee, and what is thy business? For I hear many things about thee." And the demon answered, "I, O King Solomon, am called Abezadabad. I am a descendant of the archangel. Once I sat in the first heaven, of which the name is Amaluth. I then am a fierce spirit and winged, and with a single wing, plotted against every spirit under heaven. I was present when Moses went in before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and I hardened his heart. I am he whom Ians and Iambres invoked, homing with Moses in Egypt. I am he who fought against Moses with wonders, with signs. I said, therefore, to him, "How hast thou found in the Red Sea?" And he answered, "In the exodus of the sons of Israel, I hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and I excited his heart and that of his ministers. And I caused them to pursue after the children of Israel, and Pharaoh followed with me and all the Egyptians. Then I was present there, and we followed together, and we all came up upon the Red Sea. And it came to pass, when the children of Israel had crossed over, the water returned and hid all the host of the Egyptians and all their might. And I remained in the sea, being kept under this pillar. But when Ephippus came, being sent by thee, shut up in the vessel of a flask, he fetched me up to thee. I, therefore, Solomon, having heard this, glorified God, and adjured the demons not to disobey me, but to remain supporting the pillar. And they both swear, saying, "The Lord thy God liveth. We will not let go this pillar until the world's end. But on whatever day this stone fall, then shall be the end of the world." I don't see this to be coincidence. Solomon had great wisdom. He had control over the demons of the air, and he spoke to them, asked them questions. They had to be truthful with him. Pillars being born through the air, pillars flying up in the sky. I don't think rocket science is anything but demon science.
And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do."
And he said to me, "Because of their iniquity, their judgment has been completed, and they will no longer be counted before me. Because of their sorceries, they have searched out and learned. The earth and those who dwell upon it will be destroyed."
And if it
That was our friend Joe from Effed Up World. I like that take there, guys. The you see the links that he's making between what we call scripture, and the technology of these times. And this runs throughout much of the scripture, not only in these so-called Old Testament writings, some of the apocryphal writings, some of the writings you'll find in Enoch and other things, but even the New Testament, all throughout the canonical Gospels and through Revelation, descriptions that can only be or that could be thought of as analogous to some of this technology that we see. We talk about dragons. What does Elon Musk call his technology? It's the dragon. These things have links that seem to be very strange. You can call it coincidence, but when you examine these things, there's some connections there that can't be overlooked. It just gives you a different understanding of these times. And when we talk about the Bible, guys, there's many ways to look at it. It's possible that the Bible's encoded on so many levels that it could be read in multiple ways, discerned almost in 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, or more. Much of the Bible seems to be what's been termed astrotheology, basically, where they're explaining a theology that's represented in the heavens, which is a different way to look at it. I want you to think about the Bible, what it is, what its purpose may be, at least if we can conjecture. If you had information that you wanted passed through time, and if you wanted information that you wanted others to hear, knowing that information is power, and people in power would have an interest in gaining this information, exploiting it, using it for control, well, what would you do? I'll tell you what I would do. I would encode the information through allegory, through stories. You present it through a codex. You encode the info. Therefore, those with only the most discerning of intellect and consciousness and spirit would be able to then understand. Maybe you pass down the cipher through your mystery schools, if anybody knows what a cipher is. A cipher is a code, or a cipher, I should say, is pretty much a key that you can use to decode an encoded signal. It's called a cipher. Well, cipher. Lucifer. We're told that Lu means light, and cipher means bearer, bringer, which Lucifer would be the bearer, the bringer of light. But you can also look at the derivation, the etymology of the word cipher. It's not only a bringer or a bearer, it also can be used as a code, an encryption, a key to break a code will be a cipher. What are they saying then? Who is this Lucifer character? What does it mean? Why do we hear so much about him? Is this so-called scripture a code? Can a cipher be used to decrypt the encryption? Just saying, anybody. Just saying. Yeah. Again, I mean, they give him the name of Lucifer, light bearer, code breaker, using light. Light could be analogous to wisdom. They said Prometheus brought down fire from the gods. Fire could be the light, the wisdom. Are they saying you must use a wisdom to break the code? Is the Bible a code? Everybody knows about gematria. Most of us do. I wonder how many levels this Bible's encoded on. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me. I think so. Ratblood agrees with me. Ratblood knows I'm on the right track. Some of you guys are saying the Phoenix event 2040, end of the world as we know it, November 2046, 2040. Shout out to the Archaics fans here. I don't want to just pin it all on Archaics, but shout out to the Phoenix event for what it's worth. Yeah, Benton says the Zodiac Killer used ciphers. Yeah, you can look into ciphers, guys. It's a way to communicate occultedly. You could send occulted communication. Unless somebody has the cipher, they're not going to know what it says. It's the only way to really break the code is through the cipher. I want to show you guys a little bit more about propaganda. I want to take you guys back to 1962, an ABC News piece. While we're on the topic of propaganda, we might as well go with it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. Let me pause this. Let's take it back to 1962, guys. Let Z paint a picture for you. Like I said, links in the chat if anybody wants to come up. Hey, we might have our first morning where no guests come up. I've been waiting for it to happen. This could be the morning. Done a bunch of broadcasts. So far, we've always had somebody come up. I'm wondering if the little interruption we had in the broadcast kind of put a little wrinkle into the show this morning. My fault. I went in on the Jews early in the show. Played a little bit too much of the Fiddler on the Roof, and they got me. Oh, somebody's popping up. Who's back there? Russ Combs. Is that you 5-speed? Is that you 5-speed? Yeah, it's 5-speed. I changed his name to Russ Combs. I don't have theme music for you 5-speed. Let me see. Let me bring you up and I'll drum up some theme music for you. As you guys know, like I'm trying to like tag everybody with a theme song. I even have a theme song for Paul Enslaved. But I'm not sure we're ever going to see Paul and Z show again because, reasons. Reasons. It's funny. The thumbnail that they're showing on YouTube for my show right now is the one where it says stream unavailable, but it says live underneath of it, which I don't know how to change that in real time. Funny, YouTube. How you do stuff. Let me play my theme song for Paul Enslaved before I bring up 5-speed, because I don't have 5-speed's music yet. Where is it? I downloaded the other day, but like I said, I may never get to play it because I'm not sure the next time we're going to see Paul and Z's show, because of, reasons, like I said. This will give me an opportunity to play his music. Where is it? Here it is. Come on, play for me. Here it is. Yeah. So we'll play this for 5 speed. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. What's crazy, Bear? Did you hear the song? My next guest is named 5 Speed. He's been on the show before. I'm about to bring you up, Russ. We haven't seen him in a while. Last time we saw him, he was on his way to do some auditing. Russ is one of those guys, Mr. 5 Speed, likes to, have conversations with certain so-called law enforcement officials. Some might call them policy enforcers. Some would just call them police officers. 5 Speed likes to show up and just, talk to them. About things like, laws versus codes, rights versus policies and procedures, rights versus privileges. I mean, I don't know. Some people say there's a difference. I'm sure 5 Speed would. That, there's a difference between a law and a code, like a law and a legal code. I don't know. The cops kind of seem to think it's the same thing. They look at it a completely different way, but 5 Speed likes to educate him on it. I don't know. Let's bring him up, see what he has to say. Russ, 5 Speed, welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you, homie.
What's up, Z, man? How you been?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's as Scarface would say, roses, man. I'm all roses.
Oh, that's good.
How about you, man? What's going on in your world?
That's same old, same old. I'm wondering when I come back up in there in the Bucks County area, if me and you gonna get together and go clean up some streets between Jersey and Philadelphia.
Well, dude, let me tell you this. I'm not too familiar with Bucks County. I'm a Jersey guy. I know a little bit about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a Commonwealth 5 Speed, which you might know, which kind of places it under some weird jurisdiction in terms of its statehood and state of status. Is that something you care to speak on? Its status as a Commonwealth. It's very strange, dude. There's a few Commonwealth states. Pennsylvania's one of them.
Yeah, Kentucky's another one. There's 4 or 5 of them in there.
It's weird, man. Like, I'm not too versed on the logistics between a Commonwealth and just a typical state of. I think a lot of it had to do with their original allegiance to the British monarchy early on in their formation as a colony before the so-called American Revolution. A lot of it stems from that. But there are particular commonwealths, and I know Pennsylvania is one of them, and their legal code is influenced by their commonwealth status. For instance, if you want to buy alcohol in Pennsylvania, you have to go to what's called like a state store for alcohol. In Jersey, it's different. Now, you still have to be licensed and registered to sell alcohol in New Jersey, but it's considered more of a private enterprise in a private realm. Whereas Pennsylvania, you have to go to what's called a state store. And that's only one of the differences and one of the, the so-called things we could point to.
Yeah, they got the market cornered. They corner the market.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, as far as seeing me on the streets doing stuff, part of me wants to move in that direction in terms of my whole experience here and the content that I produce would be some more like on the street stuff. Part of me sees some of the limitations there of doing that and otherwise. I don't know, man. What's your experience been in terms of on the ground stuff? How do you approach it, man? Like, do you just go about your day and wait for interactions, or do you, in some ways, find and solicit interactions with these policy enforcers? Like, What's your process, man? And tell
I,
us why you do it. Why are you passionate about it? You know?
I find it and seek them out myself personally because I want conversation, right? So that's kind of what I just go in on them. But the thing that I find and keeps me going the most is the lack of communication that these public officials that take an oath to think that they don't even have to have a conversation with us, and that's okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. And I said it pretty well in the video I did the other day at the clerk's office. I said, if I sit here and I bend to get by in this world so I can live through this world and get by, what value did I leave to my kids? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So I think should be a big eye opener for everybody. What value do you leave behind when we leave this earth? And that's kind of what motivates and drives me, buddy, because I don't want to be that person that was a piece of shit and didn't stand up for my children's futures. I just can't do it.
Yeah, man, I could hear that. And I think that's what motivates many of us is,
I walked away from a lot in Bucks County.
Yeah, like what?
My whole life, 22 years, basically. Business, home, family. I wouldn't say I walked away, Z, because, I'm not saying it's over. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that, there's the destruction in the families and within the homes, right? It's the men and the woman, the two heads of those houses that can't grasp what's going on in reality, and one wants to stick their head in the sand and act like nothing's going on, and it's just perfect and peaches and cream because they do good, right? They make a good paycheck working for the man, right? They're that paper slave. You know how it is.
Well, that's the trick of the system, of course, is, if they're going to have their cattle, they got to keep them well fed. They got to keep them cared for, so of course, and that's the draw of the system, is that's the rights and that's the benefits and the privileges of the system. So of course you have to buy into it for a reason. They got to keep you hooked in for a reason.
I don't adopt any of their bullshit.
Yeah.
Though.
Maybe getting along what you were alluding to is I find that the fairer of the species, Russ, the women tend to be a little bit more influenced and controlled by the system, which makes it tough for the so-called men of society because they're going to give you this idea of a 50-50 relationship. You both have equal legal standing under the legal contract you sign when you get married. And it tends to be that the women are more influenced, which makes sense. I mean, of course, they're the fair of the species. They're the more vulnerable ones. And in the lack of leadership, communal family leadership from the men, they're going to defer to the authorities. And I do think it's one of the key things that's dividing and breaking up the family unit. Because if you're somebody who wants to kind of go against the system, there's going to be consequences. You're going to take a hit. You may lose things in the short term. And I think oftentimes it creates great strife within the families and probably leads to more and more their control tactics. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, that's very true. But I think Orwell Warren, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, said it best. It's the spirit and not the form that keeps justice alive. And most men and women have lost the spirit and only are operating on the form. So all of these people that took that oath to do what was true, right, and just by the people and to move lives and progress lives forward in prosperity and abundance, they're not doing that. That was all a lie, and they've lost their spirit, and they're only running on the form. And that's an individual problem, I see it. I'm not one of these big elaborate speakers. I don't have all the big words. The only thing I have is that feeling or that spirit that's inside of me that knows that none of this shit is fucking right. and I don't need any big words to prove it.
Yeah, fair enough. I find when I see these policy enforcers, and they seem to lack even the most basic understanding of human rights and civil liberties to a point that astonishes me, Russ. 5-Speed is like
They're brain dead. They're literally brain dead.
It's really unbelievable, man. Like to the point where, they'll have somebody be on the side of the road, kind of minding their business, and the cop will approach them and ask for identification. And the people say, like, "Hey, man, like, okay, what crime you purporting that I'm committing? Are you alleging I'm committing a crime here?" I'm gonna say, "No, we just got a call about you. You're walking in the area, and somebody said you look like you might need help." And they're like, "I don't need any help. Looks like I'm fine here."
Well,
and the cop's like, "Well, yeah." And the cop will say, "No, you have to identify. I'm a police officer, and I'm asking for your identification." Do you know how many people they arrest on that? And it's crazy to me how these cops aren't even taught that basic understanding, dude, that like you have no right to detain a person at all for any reason and have them comply and force them to identify when they're under no suspicion of a crime. And they'll paint it like this, Russ. "Oh, I want to help you. I just want to make sure that you're not in trouble. I want to make sure
I'm here to help.
I'm here to help you. So just give me all your information so I can help you." And
they're like, "Government. I'm here to help."
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but I went up to see the mayor, I don't know, a week or so ago. And boy, what a pompous prick that guy is. And these guys actually believe that they got some sort of magical powers, dude. Right? They got all the little minions like the city PD underneath of them because, they dictate their pay and all that shit, right? But when you really catch them off guard, they don't know what the fuck to say to you, right? I was asking him a few years back, a judge here had laid down a sentence on a guy, mentally challenged guy, right? And it wasn't a sentence, it was some sort of mental evaluation, right? Well, the chief of police and the mayor went to the detention center here in Carrollton, Kentucky, got the man out of there, drove him to Louisville in a police cruiser, bought him a bus ticket to Florida. I asked the mayor what was his mental capacity and all that, right? But all these people around here seem to love these guys. It's insane to me how people can't see this bullshit.
Well, people seem to have very short memories. And of course, when everything's going great and you're getting everything you need, when you're getting your so-called, your privileges, and your benefits, then the corporation that they call the U.S. government seems great. But guess what? It's always your time always comes due, and they always come to collect. And then it's not so great, But the unfortunate thing is people have very short memories. People seem to be very simple. Now, I would say and conjecture 5-Speed is that people actually have a greater attention span than they evidence, that we've been engineered into this this society where we focus on the here and now. We're not really thinking, we're just doing and reacting, usually through emotion. I can argue that it's been engineered through like their media, TV, movies, and otherwise, even their religions and stuff. So they get people who can't think. I always say this: we have a bunch of people who they don't teach us how to think; they teach us what to think, and thus the situation you have today. I got to say something though, Russ. Unfortunate as it may sound, I don't have much hope for mankind right now, man. It just doesn't seem. It kind of seems like a save your own ass scenario, man. I don't even really know how we can right the ship, if it could be righted, it almost seems like it's in God's hands, however you want to conceive of God. If anything, it's almost like you were saying before, this seems to be a spiritual battle. I don't even know how much good we're doing, Russ, like, going out and, quote unquote, auditing, or even me here. I wonder, what good is this even doing, man?
Oh man, I've been trying to figure all this stuff out for quite a few years. I go back when I started really getting deep into it. Keith and I had hooked up back in the day, and that man's a wealth of knowledge. And I think what it all boils down to is we have to look inside of ourselves, Z, and find out who we are, right? What I seem to always go back to, man, is, and I'm not God, right? You're not God. Paul's not God. None of us are God, right? But by George, we can certainly act in a manner, in an image, right, of how we move forward on this earth. Now, do we do that with the company of our brothers and sisters, or we are pompous pricks and we got to do things our way, and it's out my way or no way? We don't work together, right? We can work together, and it doesn't have to be either one of our ways, because we're two unique, separate individuals, right? But as long as we're on that same path, what's it matter? What's the problem? See what I mean?
Well, what I see,
a lot
Russ,
of guys tell me, well, Five, you don't know. You got to do it different. You got to do what they tell you. You got to word it the way YouTube wants you to word. Fuck YouTube. No, I word it where I want to word it, right? I do it the way I want to do it. Fuck. Why do I have to follow another man's set of rules on me trying to figure out the fucking truth through all your fucking lies? Right? Because everything out of their fucking mouth is a lie.
Well, I think their biggest trick is they obscure what it is.
Yeah.
They obscure what truth is. So what they'll say is, hey, look, yeah, there might be truths out there, but how could you ever know what truth is? It's, they'll say it's just a matter of convention. They'll say, well, truth is different to different peoples and different cultures. They'll make everything relative, so to speak. They'll say, look, there's really no ideal abstract truth. It's all a matter of material. It's all a matter of abstraction. And they'll just say, basically, it's all a matter of relativity. So, what's true to you, Russ? And might be a different truth for somebody else, or it might be false to somebody. And they'll obscure it. They'll create an environment, a culture, which obscures any idea of fundamental sound truths. And they'll just say, okay, well, you want to stand on truth, 5-Speed and Z and others? Well, good luck defining what true is. And say they'll obscure it to a point. They'll confuse us to a point where, we don't really know what's going on. We don't know our ass from a hole in the ground. And then how can we ever in some way build any type of alliances? Because we all have different truths. But I would tend to agree kind of what you were saying, is that to me, truth is something that's known through instinct. I don't think we have to learn what truth is. I don't think we have to be taught anything. I would actually conjecture that their education system has been instituted to train our minds away from truth. More to the secular. Go ahead.
Right. It's all through school. We were all trained to accept authority, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Accepting authority? Accepting their authority, right? You don't do what the teacher says, you get an F, you fail. Right?
Yeah, man.
So you look at all of it, man. I don't know, man. There's so much out there, it's hard to even look at just one little thing because it's all wrong,
Well, that's the thing, man. In the end, I subscribe to this, a true thing should resonate within one's consciousness.
I believe that.
It doesn't even require like your mind. I often talk about logic and reasoning, and the reason I do it is because I think logic is natural. I think we inherently have an ability to think logically, and again, it's basically conditioned out of us and out of us as humanity. So I think we have an instinct for truth, because truth to me is an energy. It's a resonance. If something is true, it should resonate. And if you are a man of truth, you'll resonate along with the truth. It's one and the same. So if the truth is inside you, it should be recognized. And that's why people kind of know right from wrong. Even kids, it's like when you're real young and you do something wrong and you feel something inside of you. Did you really have to learn it? Did you have to really learn it? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's your conscience.
Your conscience, exactly. Your conscience. Go ahead, continue.
I mean, that's what I see all the time. I mean, when I start, I got to put my phone on airplane mode, and I got calls coming in. But that conscience is pretty powerful, and most folks don't pay attention to it, right? Because they ain't got time. They're too busy giving their time to the man on that paperwork.
Right. And I like that.
Z, we go back to the beginning. I mean, with this whole God picture and everything, listen, I'm not a religious freak. I'm not any of that. I just, as you said, you read certain things and things will resonate with you, right? That soul and that conscience. So, and that's kind of what I run off of and try to, live my life by. But if you go back to when we were a kid, right? And the way that they've taken God out of everything and nobody talks about it, God is one of them things nowadays that, you rarely hear out of people, right? Because they got better agendas to take care of. They ain't got time for that shit, right? They got to go chase the paper and get the finances, right? But isn't that the spirit that's supposed to be inside of you, of how you operate? And you go back in the beginning, all of that paper is supposed to be in that form anyway, to be going for what's good for these communities and not what's good for the mayor and his little human trafficking ring, right? So the longer we done without it, it's just like, a guy's quitting smoking a cigarette. If you quit and you don't even want that cigarette after a while. You don't even think about that cigarette. Nobody thinks about the consequences of their actions and the image that they're portraying out here in this world, absent of that spirit. Now, I think that man's turned into a wild animal and he's lost his way, right? He now thinks he's got something better than the way that it is. He's looking for some change. No, motherfucker, the change is in you.
Well, yeah,
So at the end of the day, we're held accountable individually, right?
Well, you'd think so. For me, that's what
I believe I know so. At the end of the day, I'm going to be accountable for my actions and my actions only.
To me, what the God thing is, that's why 5 Speed, I'm so intent on my message with the lies and the deceptions of what they present to us as science, dude, because to me, this whole thing of, hashtag quote unquote science and academia was basically this purpose of the deception is basically to kill an understanding of God, at least God as a concept. If you could convince everybody that they just came from a cosmic accident, a big bang, billions and billions of years ago, and that we evolved from pond scum into the complex organisms that we see today, if you can convince people to believe that story, well, you've now captured their consciousness, you've captured their spirit, their intellect, and their mentality. You've now shaped a worldview amongst humanity that promotes individualistic self-interest, nihilism, and otherwise. You've now engineered a people who are going to reject God and any concept or edicts of God writ large. Why do you think they give us this bullshit science, these public school indoctrination camps, this propaganda, this so-called education? You just kill God. You convince people they're an accident. They're basically nothing. Once you take away a concept of a God, you remove all morals, ethics, values, principles. Once there's no God, there's no truth. And like we said, truth becomes an abstraction. Truth becomes an idea. It becomes something that's no longer lived. It's become something that's conceptualized. Thus, you have the state that we have today, the state and a situation that's perfect for one world order, totalitarian, tyrannical control. And this is what we have, the world today. Go ahead. What was yours?
See, I look at that one world order, right? I used to get all wrapped up on that a few years back. The NWO, New World Order, one world currency and all of this stuff, man. And I'm telling you, I believe now that that's already set up, right? It's God's way, man. It's already set up. There is one world order. It's his fucking order. And we ain't following those orders, right? We ain't following that path. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way unto life. Few will find it. So I try to look at myself and everything that I do to make myself better and my presentment and my image out here when I approach these public officials and police officers and things, right? Because every day is a learning day. I learn something new every day. You go from cussing them to loving them, right? That's what I did, right? I went from cussing them, you stupid motherfuckers, and all of this bullshit. And then I come down my driveway one day, and then I was sitting there after a heated 45-minute battle with the fucking police officers up there in a DOT stop, right? The little stops that they have. And then I come down my driveway one day, and I'm like, well, you stupid son of a bitch. These guys have been indoctrinated in the same fucking school system that you were. They ain't just going to snap out of this, man. And me going out here cussing these motherfuckers like this ain't going to help them snap out of it. Going to have to show them some love and some respect so we can have some communications and we can lay down a foundation of that communication. And that's kind of what I run on. I try to learn every day from my dealings, right? Because you think about it, when I'm dead and gone, so what value if I wasn't true, right, and just in my own mindset in what I thought was true, right, and just right, and the way things should be, then what value do we leave to our children for them to gain something better than what we had while we were here? We don't leave them nothing. And if we don't start coming together with people like, Paul, yourself, Keith, and come to a common understanding of these folks, man, they're badass motherfuckers. It just ain't the badass motherfuckers that most folks think about today. And you can be a badass and whoop a guy all day long. That motherfucker lays you open with a few fucking words and knocks your ass out in about 3 seconds. Well, that ain't one to fuck with. And when you find that God, hey, he ain't one to fuck with. Now, I'm not bragging or anything, but I've been fortunate enough to not be thrown in a fucking cage for the truth and all of my bullshit that I put out there when I first become aware of the lies, right? And so, that's the only thing I can say to people is, try to put some of the shit that really don't matter, right? Put that shit to a side, and everybody really needs to come together in one voice, in one word, right? No more harm, man. No more. If you're involved in any harm, you're done. You're done. We're going to see to it. It's like I told that clerk over there the other day at the county recorder. See, they all try to hide who they are, right? What's the clerk's office? I said, well, where's the recorder's office? Well, we're the recorder too. I said, so you're the clerk. And she said, well, yeah, I handle that too. I said, so you're the keeper of the record. And she said, yeah. And I said, well, my brother here, he's going to have to put something on the record here and everything. And she said, well, she says that, well, it has to meet requirements. And I looked at her and I said, you can't do that. You're a clergy. You're supposed to be a keeper of the record, a correct record. If I'm putting on that record what you want me to put, it ain't my record. Now, is it? Why you keep claiming it? It ain't fucking yours. Right? Oh, well, it's your record, but you're going to put in there what I tell you you're going to put in there. How is it my fucking record? It's not my record. So anyway, I go and I told her, I said, the paper, you know, these men don't have to fish and provide for their families anymore. Now they just put a fucking noose around your neck with a paper and they feed off of you and your fucking children. I told the clerk that. Now, see, that's the kind of messages that we need to send out to these fucking people. We need to herald this shit out to the fucking world and raise up our voice and make it be fucking heard. Not in a bunch of bullshit, shit, what's the fuck word I'm looking for here? Discord, not a bunch of fucking bullshit Discord, right? Something of value. Now, what the fuck what's in our wallet? I know what's in mine.
I want to go back to what you said about, how we interact with these individuals, these so-called authority figures. And I agree with you that, really the only method is to act out of, love and understanding as much as possible. Because if we stoop to their level, if we engage in conflict and aggression and violence, well, then we're no better than them. That we've just become our enemy at that point.
Correct.
And, in reality, they're not even our enemy. That's just a perspective. They're just indoctrinated. They're under a delusion, a great delusion. And, they should be looked at as such. But I could relate what you were saying before, where I used to interact with these policy enforcers in a very particular way, conflict, aggression, etc. And I've changed my approach with them because I've changed my energy towards them because I've changed in many ways. So it's replicated in your approach. And I encourage that for anybody. It's just always realize that your actions are going to be based off your thoughts, and your thoughts are going to be based off your beliefs. If your belief system is that they're your enemy, your action towards them is going to be adversarial. If you can evaluate your belief system and look at it as, okay, well, what do I believe? Well, as opposed to being my enemy, if I believe they're my brother, they're just, maybe a little off. They've kind of gone off the trail, and maybe they just need to be talked to, educated, informed. You might have a different outcome with these individuals. I don't see any reason to contribute to the ongoing conflict. Somebody's got to break the cycle of destruction. If it's not going to be them, then it has to be us. And there's been understandings that and you have to wonder. It's been said that the only true place for a just man in this society is behind bars. That if you really want to be a just man, eventually you're going to have to face the fact that your freedoms will be impinged upon, and that may give us an insight into the nature of this realm and what it really is, somewhat of a fallen realm where truth and justice can only be approached in a way of let's say by picking up one's cross, metaphorically speaking, and where that leads. If one is to follow the Christian doctrine, it doesn't have a rosy ending, not here in this world. It's said that your treasures are built not here, but in the kingdom of heaven. Well, if you're building your treasures in heaven, what does that mean? What's going to happen to you in this realm? People don't want to face that 5-speed. They don't want to face that unfortunate reality that seems to be part of the binary nature and the dualistic nature of this realm is to build your treasure in heaven has consequences here. And they may not be unavoided. The Christ figure said it's more difficult to get into the gates of heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. And whether you take that literally or metaphorically, it's a particular message. It's a hard message. And it's not sweet. And in some ways, it's bitter.
It's either
But
one or the
again-
other, isn't it? Either one is the other.
Seems like it.
One
Seems
can
like it.
one's considered right and one's considered wrong. Which one is it?
Yeah, man.
So I that's the thing that fascinates me the most. Well, I think your name's John, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the thing that fascinates me the most is inherently you already know right from wrong, bro. You already know those things. You already know that. I mean, so we've already been given the keys. Think about that. The day we took our breath, we were already given the keys, right? And we're the ones that lost those keys along the way, right? Through man's teachings and society's conformity, right? We lost those keys along the way because we were kind of guided another way for money and houses and cars or whatever the case may be, right? Women, whatever. So, I mean, that's the thing that gets me the most is how I don't understand how people don't see it. And I even look back on me when I didn't see it, right? But now it's like, damn, dude, it's so fucking simple. How the hell don't we see it? Why did even like me? Why did it take me so fucking long to come out of that cognitive dissonance, right? Because we already had the keys from the day we were fucking born.
Yeah, I like your take here. I like your take. Yo, 5 Speed, it was awesome talking to you this morning, man. I think, I enjoyed it, and I think the audience enjoyed it too. I can only assume. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap the show?
No, man. I would just encourage people to be the light that shines on all these people in need right now in today's times. And remember, most importantly, popularity without a positive purpose is fucking pointless. And it leaves no value to your children. Much love, man. I'm going to jump out.
Back at you, Russ. Good talking to you this morning.
All right, man. I look forward to getting back up there in PA and hooking up, brother.
Hey, man. Yeah, it's like I said previously. That's something that we might be able to work out. I mean, depending on certain circumstances and things. But we might be able to work that out, man.
Why don't I? You and I are the only ones up here right now, right?
Yeah, just put your email in the private chat.
I'll put my
whatever contact's best. Whatever contact's best. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put my number in here.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, everybody.
All right, you got it?
Yeah, I got it, man. Much love. 5 Speed.
Much love, everybody in the chat. Many blessings.
That's Russ. He goes by 5 Speed, y'all. And he kind of laid it out. I liked his approach, man. I liked his energy that he came with. I was resonating very strongly with a lot of his thoughts. Our friend Smith W says, basically asking me if I'm a Christian, if I believe in the Bible and stuff. I don't know. Often I see that question as a loaded question. Believe. Do I need to believe in anything? As 5 Speed said, truth to me is self-evident. I think we have an instinct and an intrinsic understanding of truth. What I would say is I resonate strongly with much of the sentiments of the Bible. But to say that I believe in the Bible is a very general statement. Believe, be lie, believe. I'm not sure I have to believe in anything. I would say I don't even really have to know anything. How about this? I have certain understandings or inner standings, as many of us would like to say, and I accept things, accept with an A, not an E, accept certain things. I accept them. Other things I reject. But to say I believe in the Bible or believe in anything is a bit loaded, y'all. Anyway, get my camera on. And that brings us to the exciting conclusion of another Z show, everybody. Much love. Much love, much love. Today's Wednesday. Wooden's Day, if you go by the German. Wooden's Day. Wooden. It's Odin. The Norse god Odin. Wooden's Day, everybody. Let's do it again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Much love, everybody. Take care. Take care of yourselves. It was a pleasure. Adios.